This week, we've seen new updates to Proton and to the Steam Deck's stable channel. We'll dive into both. Plus, Nintendo's holy war continues against Yuzu, even though Yuzu's in the grave. Will it ever stop? We'll investigate. And new details have emerged about PlaytronOS, and it has me even more skeptical. Let's get right into the news. This week, Nintendo continued their unhinged IP crusade by hitting GitHub with a litany of DMCA requests, resulting in 8,535 Git repositories being removed. Nintendo said that these Yuzu forks, quote, illegally circumvent Nintendo's technological protection measures and runs illegal copies of Nintendo Switch games. Consequently, GitHub said, because the reported network that contained the allegedly infringing content was larger than 100 repositories, and the submitter alleged that all or most of the forks were infringing to the same extent as the parent repository, GitHub processed the takedown notice against the entire network of 8,535 repositories, inclusive of the parent repository. Now, details and speculation have run rampant after the Yuzu case. I've heard unsubstantiated reports that some of the emulator's developers had access to Nintendo Switch dev kits, and therefore the emulator wasn't a clean room implementation, thus giving Nintendo all the legal ammo they need to actually take it all down. If that were true, then the source code for Yuzu is proverbially radioactive, and it seems like sure legal footing for Nintendo to continue their holy war. But why then did they claim that Yuzu illegally circumvents Nintendo's technological protection measures if it's violating their actual intellectual property? Only time will tell on this, I guess. Next up, the Create, Automate, and Manage Humble Bundle is out now, and it's got a whole bunch of excellent games. This new bundle features 7 games for only $15. They are The Colonists, which is native, Astro Colony, which is playable, Cardboard Town, which is native, Mob Factory, which is playable, Factory Town, which is verified, Buggos, which is playable, and Recipe for Disaster, which is playable. Now, I'm looking forward to playing The Colonists and Astro Colony in particular. Both of these games seem right up my alley. Now, if one of these games calls out to you, you can use my links below. They're affiliate links to pick up this game and help support the show at no additional cost. And thanks. Do you remember PlaytronOS? It's this weird commercial Linux gaming distro that supposedly will have a whole bunch of upcoming devices shipping with it on it. It was announced back in March, and frankly, it gives me the jimilies. Right, so we've got a bunch of new information about PlaytronOS. Sadly, it's only through their Discord channel, so I'm going to be quoting Gaming on Linux's article on this matter. So thanks, Liam. Appreciate you. So it was written somewhat like a FAQ, so let's see what we can learn here. Question: why should I install PlaytronOS? Answer: Playtron is an optimized Linux-based gaming distro that allows you to play all of your favorite Epic Games Store, Good Old Games, or GOG, and Steam games and more. Improved game compatibility compared to other devices on the market. When will the pre-alpha launch of PlaytronOS come out? Summer 2024. That's just a few months away. What operating system is PlaytronOS based on? We're based on Fedora's Silverblue family of atomic desktop distros. PlaytronOS is not affiliated with the Fedora project. Does Playtron run Linux games? Currently, PlaytronOS only runs Windows games using Wine. Native Linux games will be supported in the future. Is PlaytronOS open source? At first, only the operating system code will be open source. We have plans to open source more and release API documentation to allow developers in the community to contribute and build their solutions using Playtron. What does Playtron have to do with crypto? Playtron is backed by a handful of crypto companies. If game developers believe blockchain features can improve their games, we're all for it. The use of these technologies from a user perspective will be optional. Now, there is more to this, and you can actually use the links below to read the full FAQ. In all honesty, though, it's that last bit that really has me sketched out. I know they said that it's going to be optional, but guys, cryptocurrency, I believe cryptocurrency to be a scam. But the fact that cryptocurrency companies are involved here at the outset means that Playtron is going to have to work so much harder to prove everything is on the up and up with what they're doing. Don't get me wrong, I'm interested to see where this goes, but I am also not invested in it either. Let me know your thoughts and feed the engagement monster by sounding off in the comments below. You can also smash that like button and tell YouTube you want to see more videos just like this. You can also get subscribed if that's more your speed. So in an attempt to lose all market relevance, Microsoft has closed Tango Gameworks, Arcane Austin, Alpha Dog Studios, and Roundhouse Games. This is some EA level studio murder. Studio side? Is that a word? If it's not, I'm coining it right now. Studio side. Look, I was on the Nerd Nest podcast this week. You can check out a link up here. I had an absolute blast, and this was one of the stories that we didn't end up being able to touch on because we ran out of time. But I have a lot to say about this topic. First, let's talk about how Xbox is a joke. Like, personally, I know 2 people who have Xbox Series consoles, and in the previous generation, I only knew 1 person who had an Xbox One. Everyone else had PlayStations or PCs. Microsoft is divesting from the Xbox market, and instead they're bringing their IPs to PC. But what does that mean? Like, what IP does Microsoft actually have? I'm not talking about the stuff that they've recently acquired. I'm talking about Halo, Forza, and Gears. Those are their first-party IPs. And that's it, guys. That's all they have. But then, people are gonna say, well, Gardner, what about all the studios that they've recently acquired? Why are we talking about this in the first place? Studio side. They've acquired major publishers like Bethesda and Activision. And guess what? Bethesda and Activision are destined to end in the same studio side that we're seeing now. For God's sakes, Microsoft hasn't done anything interesting or innovative with the IPs that they own since Halo ODST. So yeah, this is just obscene. I mean, the fact that regulators allowed Microsoft to acquire major publishers is a crime in and of itself. It's also clear to me that corporate bizarro Ted Nugent over here has no idea what he's doing and is making the industry worse due to his incompetence. Anyway, that's my rant. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this story too, or on my take here. Honestly, I like to share my opinion, but I also like to read what you guys have to say about stuff. Speaking of game studios though, how about mine? I'll make this quick. My game, Dudelings Arcade Sportsball, released on Monday of this week, and I'm super proud of it. It's basically Pong meets foosball. Up to 2 players square off in a no-holds-barred brawl for points. Along the bottom of the screen, you'll see a row of neutral Dudelings. You can control one at a time to manipulate the ball. You can make him jump, dash, punch, and more, and the objective is to get the ball into your opponent's goal. It's an excellent party game. I think it's really fun, and it's well reviewed on Steam. So if it's interesting to you, use the links below to check it out. And right now you can get Dudelings and its original soundtrack for 15% off in a bundle. So head over there because that's only going to last for a limited time. All right, so let's talk about the new Proton Experimental. This is a heck of a change, and it makes a ton of games playable. Newly supported in this release is Tekken 8, Black Desert Online, Heroes Land, Onimusha Warlords, Warlords Battle Cry 3, SimCity 3000 Unlimited, Aragon, and Freestyle Football R. Now, maybe it's already time for a revisit of my recent video I did a few weeks ago where I installed CD and DVD-based games on my Steam Deck. I mean, in the video, I installed SimCity 3000 Unlimited using the CD, and it didn't work at all. So maybe now with Proton Experimental it will? Let me know if you want to see that. Proton Experimental also has fixes for the re-release of the CNC games. The entire franchise is on Steam, and I am still torn about whether or not to buy it because, let's be honest, it's published by Electronic Arts. And you're not supposed to buy EA games, that's the rule. There are tons of fixes for other titles including Cities Skyline, Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, Beat Saber, Halo Infinite, and more. This is an exciting release, and there will be a link to the changelog in the description, so make sure you check that out and see if your favorite game has a fix. This week, we saw the biggest stable Steam Deck client so far in 2024. It included 43 features and fixes for Steam, many of which we talked about when they were added to the beta channel, but I wanted to review some of the most important updates here, and there are a few. Fixed Steam client menus opening in separate windows from main window after sleep and account change. Fix crash when playing back certain media in Steam Music Player, reduce network traffic at startup and reconnect. If a game failed to update, show why on the details page as well as the downloads page. Made taking screenshots more responsive. Modified CSS class names to reduce package size and reduce feature leaks. Changed the default scale from 200% to 150% on a 4K monitor. And with Steam Input, there's a new configurator feature, swap left with right, which allows you to swap the behavior of the left and right stick or the left and right trackpad using just a simple button press, which is kind of exciting for southpaws out there. Now, there are many more features added to the stable release, but that's what I've found to be the most interesting. And I think it's important to note that the Steam family sharing beta is not out of beta yet. It's not included in this stable update. I will talk about that as soon as it releases. I'll probably do a special video deep diving into the features. So make sure you get subscribed so you don't miss that. Now, I think that's everything I wanted to touch on this week. Thank you so much for being with me here in these weekly deck news videos. I appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, you might want to check out this other one here, or perhaps you want to watch the trailer for my video game. Don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with all the fun stuff we're doing here on the channel. And with that, I'll catch you next time.